We are talking Miami football here on Mark Rogers TV with the Hurricanes and a Friday night edition of Miami football taking on Duke in a very important Coastal Division matchup between the Blue Devils and the Hurricanes. We talked to Isaiah Kim Martinez. He is the sports editor at the Miami Hurricane. Isaiah, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, and certainly want to make sure you and everyone else is okay, considering all the devastation down there. So your own personal situation and some of your friends and family, what's the status right now?
Yeah, well, with Irma, we were lucky enough that it ended up not being as impactful, thankfully, on this Miami area as we originally thought. Obviously, with Irma first coming, it looked like it was about to take a direct hit through the center, basically the way Florida looks to you, just like right through the center. But towards the last few days, it ended up going west a little bit. So me and my family, or my family and I personally, we actually went up north to Tennessee to visit some family during the time. Like a lot of people at Miami that I know, evacuating the situation, going home, whether it be up north, out west, just everyone trying to get up north, basically. But regardless, thankfully, even the people that were in Miami, there was some power loss to quite a few homes, millions of homes in Florida. And obviously that's never good, but for the most part, it was for a few days. So some power loss there, some trees, obviously there was some damage to the campus that they had to take 2 to 3 weeks to recover, mostly fallen trees all over to try to get the campus back up to speed. But other than, the electricity and the trees, for the most part, we kind of dodged a bullet a little bit. The fact that it went west and we only got some wind gusts, even though they were powerful, we were able to kind of dodge the real wrath of Irma. But definitely it took, obviously, the campus some weeks to recover because, when you have palm trees falling all over the place, some serious damage can be done. So, as well as the football team, obviously. So a lot of people having to adjust to the situation.
We're talking Miami football with Isaiah Kim Martinez. He is the sports editor at Miami Hurricane. And you've got the real life situation, which the lives are the most important. And then to a lesser extent, but still important, the property damage, as you just discussed. And then we've got the football situation, which is just a matter of inconvenience. But when you play at a big-time program and you're expected to perform on the field and perform well and win games, there is pressure there. And suddenly you've geared up from last January all the way to the beginning of September to play football and be on schedule. And suddenly your lives are in upheaval. And to try to stay sharp, stay in shape, stay unified as a team. And obviously the coaching staff, I'm sure the administration was taking care of the personal situations there with the football team. But beyond that, any thoughts, anything you heard about the football team that kind of can give us an idea of what they had to face from a football standpoint, because they didn't play for 21 days?
Yeah, the football team, they organized the situation where originally they were going to kind of all stay in. Obviously, there's the ones that evacuated, and those that had to stay, they were going to do their best to stay in Miami, whether it be in their homes or wherever they had to go. But then athletics and Coach Richt and these guys came up with this idea to go to Orlando and to go to Universal specifically at first, and to take the players and take the athletes at Miami, not just football players. They actually took some players from other teams that really had nowhere to go during the time, and then as well as Blake James, Jennifer Strawley, some of the people in charge of in athletics, as well as Mark Richt and his wife. They decided to go to Orlando on the 7th of September, which was the Thursday of that week when the hurricane was approaching, a few days before it actually made landfall towards Miami. So they made the decision that it would be for a better interest for us, for our safety, for the players' safety, and for their overall well-being, depending on what would happen if we traveled north to Orlando. So they got some charter buses. Originally, there were 35 football players that were on that original bus with Mark Richt and the staff and everyone to go to Universal on the charter bus. So they rode up. It was about a 235-mile trip up to Orlando, which normally would take about 3.5 hours, but because of all the traffic, it took them about 10 hours, according to who I've been talking to. So you had some players, about 8 players were local in that situation, who lived around the area, and other ones just didn't necessarily have another place to go. Maybe they didn't want to go, but they ended up going to to Universal, going to Orlando and staying there for a while. And the plan was to stay there until the hurricane passed, and then hopefully come back to campus and go through the normal schedule again. But with all the damages, obviously school not starting for 2-3 weeks after for the undergraduate students, they weren't able to come back to practice. So they're like, why don't we get everyone else to come over here once obviously the hurricane, by Monday, Tuesday, it was pretty much winding down. People could travel. So why don't we stay here and get all the rest of the players to come here to this complex that they ended up playing at Orlando, called the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. Like, why don't we practice here? We're already here. We can have the other players come. It's a safe area. The facilities are really nice, and we don't have to worry about traveling back. We don't have to worry about what can we use and not use as far as equipment. So they decided to practice there in preparation for Toledo. So the following week, they tried to go through as normal of a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday process as they go through. Obviously having some light workouts over the weekend, lifting on Monday, practice Tuesday, Wednesday, available to the media, and then Thursday travel back and then get ready for the game on Saturday. So it was quite a crazy process for them. They had to go through a lot to be able to practice and flat out just go through a normal schedule. They were able to thankfully, eat and weight train on a normal schedule after they went up there, because obviously Orlando was in better shape. So it turned out okay, and obviously they were able to, although they looked a little winded, we can get to that a little later, but they ended up pulling out the win. So all in all, it worked out.